You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Sabre Zone.
Hi folks, welcome to the Sabre Zone. This is a video on the channel, if you're new, that discusses what you had to say in the posts that you leave, as I spy and look in them and see what you said. So let's take a look. And shout out goes to Mortal Gaming. And he says, I'm from Nova Scotia but live in Alberta. My story is my father wanted to get me a Montreal jersey, that's his team, and there was none. Then he looked for Toronto, none. No Canadian team jerseys were in the store, so he bought me a Buffalo jersey. Since then, I've been a Sabres fan. That's an awesome story, Mortal Gaming. That's really just an awesome story. You know, and that's the moral of this one, guys, is the Sabres found me, you know, how the Sabres found us, you know? And yeah, when I read that, I said, oh my goodness, I'm definitely going to talk about this one eventually. So I've had that clipped out, as you can see, for a few days now. And to think that, so your dad went to get you a jersey. Imagine, you know, if it would have been, oh my goodness. You know, I went through it. I went through that phase in my childhood where there's a rare picture of me wearing a Montreal Canadiens jersey in my mom's photo album. There is. I don't remember it. I don't recall it, but there is. And then, of course, me in the Leafs jersey when I was a kid. I remember being a Leafs fan as a kid. That I remember. I don't remember being a Habs fan ever. So I think my parents were trying to get me to be. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But yeah, you know, it's funny. It's like, and he was talking about his story, folks, because somebody asked me to explain in one of my videos how I became a Sabres fan, and this was one of the comments. So yeah, how we became Sabres fans for a lot of us is I wonder too. You know, like I like hearing these things because this is a really cool story that the Sabres found you. You didn't find them. You know what I mean? That's really so cool that it just happened that way. And you just stuck with them. And your dad he must have had so many regrets he didn't find you in a Habs jersey that day because of the way it turned out, eh? I'm wondering, maybe. But, you know, as time went on, you know, my mom really warmed up to the Sabres too because she's seen how much of a diehard fan I was, and Mom was always a Habs fan, you know, and she always cheered on the St. Louis Blues also. She cheered on both those teams. And before Mom passed, she was kind of cheering a bit for the Leafs because she felt bad for her brother, that it was a diehard Leafs fan and they always do nothing, and like she was feeling bad for him, so she was, you know, kind of cheering them on a bit too. And don't forget, my mom grew up in Ontario, so for her, the team out there was either Montreal or it was Toronto. You know, there was no other teams. And yeah, you know, to think your dad, I'm just picturing it, you know, your dad looking, okay, well, do you have any Toronto jerseys? No, we don't. You know, what jerseys do you have? Well, we still have a Buffalo jersey over there. Oh my goodness, that's an awesome way to become a fan. That just is, you know. And it's funny because I fell into becoming a Sabres fan by accident. I did. I always liked the jersey though. The jersey was cool. I thought the logo was cool. This one was always such a cool logo, I thought, you know. And I see my friend John Sanders and his sister Stephanie, and John would be going to school wearing a Buffalo Sabres jersey. And I remember asking him about it. I said, how come you're wearing that team? I don't understand, you know. And then he told me he's from Buffalo. He's a Sabres fan. I didn't understand. I just didn't, because Buffalo was just like in their second year or something at the time. This is about at least a year before I became a fan. So this was very early in their history, you know. And then the Sabres, the French Connection, got me, like I said in that video. And you know, I'd like to hear more Sabres fans with their stories like this, because this is, for me, this is really, it's a special story. You know, like to actually remember how we became fans is special. Many of us forget. I remember how it happened for me, you know, and I just fell in love with the French Connection, and Gilbert Perreault, I thought was like the coolest player in the world. And oh my goodness, there was just so many things about this team I loved, you know, at the time. And I can't imagine anybody back in that day not becoming a Sabres fan. So yeah, I'd like to know what era it was, if you could let me know. What era was that? Was that during the Hasek era? Was it before? Was it in the 80s? Was it, you know, when was it when this happened? Because kind of curious. There could have been a lot more other jerseys there if there was more teams, is why I'm thinking too. You know, what if he would have came home with the California Golden Seals? Then what? You probably would have cried, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's fun to look back at. It is. These are always good memories for me. Stuff like this. I like stuff like this because, you know, these are the memories, folks, that are just so precious to all of us as we get older in life. And, you know, life kind of wears us down, takes its toll on us, and, you know, start losing loved ones and friends and your pets, and, you know, as the chain of life goes on, and you know, then there's these innocent memories from back then that you can look at and realize, you know, once upon a time these were really good, fond memories, right? That we have, and I was touched by this too, because I remember when I went to the Bay, I went to the Hudson Bay store out here. And I remember I went to get a Sabres logo. And this is how the Penguins became part of the team that I cheered for a while too, with the Sabres. I used to cheer the Penguins on for a bit when I was a kid, when I was little. And I went there to get a Sabres crest because I wanted to put it, I believe, on my jean jacket. I think. I can't remember. They didn't have any. So the guy goes, but we have Pittsburgh, the Penguins. I said, the Penguins? I said, all right, let me see it. And I thought it was really cool, the angry little penguin, you know, with the hockey stick. But it was the one with the scarf and everything. It was that one. The word mark on it too. So I took it, you know, and for like, just because of the same reason as you, you know, I said, you know, I got some allegiance here, so I'll cheer for these guys also a bit. But, you know, of course, Sabres were number one. But then, you know, when you're 9 and 10, you're like all over the place, right, with this. And I was cheering for the Penguins a bit, I remember. And in '75, the Penguins, there was a good playoff year because, of course, the Sabres went to the finals, but the Penguins came one win from the Final Four that year. One win from the Final Four, and the Islanders won the last 4 games, season over. And that was it for me, and any allegiance to the Penguins. At that point, I had enough cheering them on. But it wasn't like, they weren't like a favorite team. They were just kind of a team I rooted for, kind of. And when the Sabres weren't playing, I'd check how the Penguins were doing. So it was that kind of thing. But no, I was diehard into the Sabres in '75. My goodness. Anyway, this is a great story. So thanks for sharing that. That was a fun story. I'd like to hear other people tell me their story, how they became Sabres fans, because that's something I should have asked for in the video itself. So ask for it a bit more, maybe. Push it out of you, guys. Come on, let me know. Curious. All right, guys. See you in the next one.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to ensure Dimension access.